Friends, the entrepreneurial spirit of the informal sector in India really, really, absolutely delights me. I remember very recently I was in Delhi near the Park Street, and there was a vendor who was selling ready-made white shirts, you know, the export shirts that you sell for about 75 rupees. He had parked himself on a crossroad. So he was on this corner and the road went every which way. All his shirts were there on a thela. And right up over here, because he was resting against the compound of one of the buildings, which was an iron railing, and on the iron railing was written, "Pata पूछने का 2 रुपया." I thought it was absolutely fabulous. 2 rupees for asking the address. Because having been on that crossroads, can you imagine people coming, ye kidhar hai, wo kidhar hai, wo pata puchne ka 2 rupiya. That is the entrepreneurial spirit of the informal sector in our country. I remember being struck in Mumbai, where I'm getting goose flesh as I'm saying this, where I saw this man who had used his own body as the means to earn a living. So he had a bamboo in which were stuck balloons and all kinds of little things for children. He had on his hands stuck bindis and bangles and everything. So he was literally using himself as a pole, a walking pole on which he was displaying everything that he can. That is the spirit of the entrepreneurial informal sector of our country. I remember an instance in Ahmedabad where a young man had transformed a three-wheeler by some very innovative means into a little taxi. Instead of applauding him and instead of really congratulating him for his spirit, he had been struggling for 4 years to find a license for that vehicle, and he was not getting it because the bureaucrats said, "We don't know what to call this vehicle." That is what policy is doing in our country, and that needs to be addressed. I'm very, very delighted that the Center for Civil Society has taken up the issue of livelihood through Jeevika, and I would like to congratulate all the documentary filmmakers who have participated in this. The power of the documentary is enormous. I have often been asked, what was it that, in spite of the fact that, you know, I am not 100 years old, but getting there in my career, what made me move out of the comforts of my career and move towards social issues. And one of the things, apart from the fact that my father, Shabana Azmi, has been a member of the Communist Party and is also an activist, etc., was a film by Anand Patwardhan called Hamara Sheher, Bombay, Our City. And it moved me very, very, very deeply because it showed me that demolishing slums is not the answer. That demolishing slums only creates worse slums out of already existing slums, because people come into the city not in search of housing, they come into the city in search of employment. Employment they find, but they do not find a home. And how important it is for policy to address that. When we talk about the issue of slums, we fail to recognize that unless there is a bank of land that the government has on which it will provide subsidized housing for the economically weaker sections, the process of illegality will continue to be perpetuated. I don't want to go into the details in that. I just want to congratulate all of you, people who won the awards, people who haven't won the awards. I really believe in the power of the documentary, and would like to add that my own sensitization, because I believe that art should be used as an instrument for social change, and I would like to end by citing some lines from my father's poem Makan, which talks about the irony of the construction worker who, after having built this fabulous building with his sweat and blood, after the building is complete, there is a security guard who is placed at the gate, and the very man who built this is not allowed to enter the very building. And we see these contradictions happening everywhere. And so Kaifi Azmi, the poet, and my father really gives a call to these construction workers to stand up for their right and talk about an opening in the window. So he says, मकान के मैं कुछ एक शेर सुनाती हूँ. आज की रात बहुत गर्म हवा चलती है. आज की रात बहुत गर्म हवा चलती है. आज की रात न फुटपाथ पे नींद आएगी. सब उठो, मैं भी उठूं, तुम भी उठो, तुम भी उठो. कोई खिड़की इसी दीवार में खुल जाएगी. मैं अपनी तरफ से जीविका और तमाम फिल्म मेकर्स को बहुत बहुत मुबारकबाद देती हूँ कि वो इस खिड़की खोलने का काम कर रहे हैं. शुक्रिया बहुत बहुत.